Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Gabba in Brisbane, where the Brisbane Heat shall be taking on the Melbourne Renegades. I'm your host, Blair Curtin, and this is perhaps one of the more interesting matchups. Both teams have struggled, the Renegades against the Scorchers last week, and the Heat perhaps to field an 11 at all, with the number of players left on their base stats. Jordan Lewis has chosen a difficult pitch for the batsman. I expect he's looking to even that up there as we get the toss and Daniel calls heads. The Heat have won the toss, and it'll be interesting to see what Brisbane choose to do here. Bowling first is perhaps not the choice I would have made on this pitch. If the Renegade bowlers can get going this evening, then things might get very, very tricky for the Heat batsmen as Eddie Oliver takes the fresh white rock for the first ball. It will be Felix Windmill-Skeed partnering him from the other end as we see Nathan O'Donnell, I believe on his full SBL debut, gets off the mark with single. Some changes in the batting order, of course. O'Donnell coming in, Rohan Kaval coming up the order to partner O'Donnell as an opener, Kelly dropping down to 4, Aaron O'Hare and Bailey Wilson coming in. No real changes in the bowling lineup. As that gets glanced away, down through vacant, I guess you call it backward square for 4 runs, and both Renegades batsmen off the mark early, and Eddie does need to consider how he plays the rest of the over from here, as I'm not entirely sure that this Brisbane Heat lineup will be up for a big run chase. Men at third man, fine leg, and a sort of deep point, as that one goes through to gully and returned to the captain, Jordan Lewis. Oliver steaming into bowl on a length and played with the straight bat by Kaval to be fielded by Oliver. Good fight back here in this over. Went for 5 runs early, but now 2 dot balls put some pressure back on the Renegades as we see a more aggressive shot here from Kaval, but fielded there by Riff at a squarish mid-off. Oliver, last ball of the over, tries the Yorker, flicked away, fielded at deep backward square, and just one more run after the boundary. Decent start, you'd have to say, for the Heat. They're going to need to keep bowling at this intensity in order to keep the Renegades to a manageable score, because the Renegades do bat quite well, as Felix Windmill-Skeed comes in from the other end. First ball of the over on a bit of a length, very much on the stumps and glanced away down too deep backward square. That's been kept in the field of play, no boundary, but they still will run 3. Good work there from Kaval, turning over the strike, getting O'Donnell back on, and we'll see what the rookie can do. Another Yorker, played away well to the onside, fielded at cow corner, and that is 2 runs, a very well run 2, all things considered. Windmill-Skeed needs to start taking this over back, and he fails to do that, puts it outside off. Very, very calmly played through cover. However, the boundary is saved yet again. O'Donnell now moves to 6 runs from just 3 balls. The Renegades will be looking for a big score out of their 2 openers here, of course, in order to lay the platform for McCartney and for Kelly. Another Yorker. Well, it's fended out by Kaval. but no run. 2 balls to come in the over. 8 runs from it so far. Felix Wimilskid does need to get something here, as that's just sort of chipped away down the onside by Caval into a gap, and very, very cheeky little single. And he might just find himself on strike at the start of next over. Well played by O'Donnell, but fielded very well there at silly points. And 9 off that over by Felix Wimilskid. Renegades find themselves at 9 for 15 after 2 overs. Probably a very positive start for the Renegades, you'd have to say, as Oliver comes in for the first ball of his second and final over for the innings. Fielded well at gully. Bit of an energetic return to the keeper. Not entirely necessary. As Caval, 9 from 9. Strike rate of just 100, would be looking to step that up, you'd think. Ooh, I was about to say that was well fielded, but it's been dropped. And that has been dropped, I believe, by Anthony Lee, who will likely see bowling very, very soon. No wicket on the table, of course. However, that did let another run through and get the slightly more energetic Nathan O'Donnell on strike. Another Yorker from Oliver, chipped away, fielded at deep backwards square. Just the 1 run. Oliver's started to peg this back nicely now. He did go for a couple early in the first over of his spell, but lots of dot balls and only single since. As that's going to change, Caval locks, loads, and sends it straight over the rope for the first 6 of the game. Eddie Oliver not looking very pleased with himself there. But it wasn't a bad ball, you've got to say. It was just launched. Bit of a nothing length, perhaps, but probably just about on the right line. And Caval steps up the gears in confidence now. 23 runs on the table, 16 balls bowled. The 17th is a dot. Well fielded at cover. Last ball of Eddie Oliver's spell. He'll be disappointed not to have got a wicket, but he's kept things in check fairly nicely. 1 more Yorker, and it's been excellently fielded there at mid-wicket. None for 24 off 3 overs. And this run rate, though, is definitely quite high for early in an innings, especially on this pitch as Sonny Tyre comes into bowl. Very, very experienced man, been here since season 1. It'll be interesting to see how he presents the problems to the batsman. It's a bit of a short one there to O'Donnell. Chipped down, no one at mid-wicket, no one at mid-on. Tyre has to chase his own ball, and that's a very easy single, bringing the perhaps more dangerous Caval onto strike. 16 from 13 now. Gets down halfway to one knee, heave-ho, straight over square leg, and that's a very, very classic 4. Seemed to have checked his shot a little, but it's more of the sweep slog than the sweep, you'd have to say. As Tyre, 5 runs from the first 2 balls, seems to be a recurring theme with the Heat bowlers. As we see another one, and that's out. Caught there at short fine leg. Brian Caval, 20 runs off 15 balls, brought to an end by a great ball there from Sonny Tyre. Caval turning it around, and absolutely no mistake there at short third man. Maraus was the man taking the catch. 1 for 28 after 3 overs and 3 balls. Brings McCartney into bat. You think he'll like getting settled against the right arm leg spinner, the ball turning back into him, a man out on each sweep, but McCartney doesn't care. He goes straight through a wideish sort of mid-on, and that is 4 to get off the mark. Some real intent from McCartney, as we saw in the last game as well. Not a man to be intimidated. by a field or a bowler. Tyre now 1 for 9 off 4 balls. He's taken a great wicket, but it's been an expensive over. And he's taken a second. That has been edged straight behind. Jordan Lewis makes no mistake behind the stumps. Sonny's got 2 off what was an otherwise expensive over. And no, I don't think there's any point in reviewing that. Just gets cramped up on the leg side and somehow manages to find an outside edge. Very poorly played. 2 for 32 off 23 balls. It's Joey Kelly, McCartney's former partner in crime, comes to the crease, and you think he'll just want to get out of this over alive. Well, he was a little bit more ambitious than that, but again, well fielded at a short, fine leg, although that's perhaps a little bit more square. And now 4 overs done, 2 wickets back in the shed, 32 on the board, as Anthony Lee comes to the bowling crease, number 2 for the Brisbane Heat. Oh, that's the deuce for a first up, but O'Donnell navigates it well. Run rate coming through at just about 8 and over. You'd expect the Renegades to try and launch in the back half of the innings. However, a lot of their firepower has now found themselves back in the sheds. And that was a bit of a shocker there from Nathan O'Donnell. An inexperienced man, chops it onto his stumps. Just plays down the wrong line there, I think. As we see another deucer there from Anthony Lee. Back in the sheds, 8 runs from 8 balls, 3 for 32 now. Another inexperienced man, Aaron O'Hare, to the crease. Oh no, actually he's a left arm offie. That's why it's coming back that way. Well played there though by O'Hare. Comes down to deep mid wicket for 2. And sharply returned out there. At this stage, the Renegades need to stem the flow of wickets. They've got good bowlers, but they need runs on the board. And to do that, they need their batsmen to stay out there as they take advantage of no one at third man. And that just rolls straight through for 4 between gully and points. Or no, on a deep point, really, I suppose I should say. Just rocks back, plays the line beautifully, no mistake, and the Gabba outfield's always fast. Good over so far from Lee, though. Just 6 runs, 1 wicket after 4 balls, as we see a bit of a creative shot there from O'Hare. Fielded there at silly points. No catch on the table, of course, but that definitely stops some runs, which is nearly as good. And that steps around the line of the ball there, O'Hare. Knocks it straight down to deep forward square, and we'll see another 2 run. Well fielded and well backed up there, as we might have seen some overthrows if it wasn't for that. 8 from the over. Another wicket down. Renegades, 3 for 40 after 5. Sonny Tyre back into the attack. Wants a crack at Joey Kelly. And that's played nicely down, past mid-on, and I think we're going to see a 4 here. Yes, we do. Now, the Renegades, of course, running 6 batsmen, 5 bowlers. So, 2 more wickets, and the long Renegades' tail will be exposed, and the Brisbane bowlers can start targeting that on what should be a tricky batting surface, though we haven't seen too much evidence of that so far. Down, fielded a short mid-on. Run rate of 8.5 at this stage. 85 might be defendable here, given the quality of the Renegades bowlers, but I think they'll want another 10 to really consider themselves at par. Bigger shot here from Joey Kelly. Sends it straight down past deep long on 4-4. Some real intent here now, attacking Sunny Tyre. After a brilliant first over, he now finds himself on 2 for 17 with another 3 balls to come. A real change in mentality here from Joey Kelly too, who of course had a bit of a shocker on debut, on Renegades debut, as that gets fielded there at mid-wicket. In his previous innings, he scored just 1 run off 8 balls and plays riskily there, tries to cut, but just bumps it down to slip. I do like seeing the intent here from Brisbane, though. Playing the slip, they know they need to get these wickets. It's up-ish. However, there is protection out there at deep mid-off. And only the 1 run. Sunny Tyre, 2 for 18. Probably the pick of Brisbane's bowlers so far, though he wasn't very cheap. And we'll see how Anthony Lee goes in his second over here. Kelly on strike, turning it away from the right-hander. This run rate just starting to come down a bit now. It's under 8 for the first time in a little while. As it drops short by Lee, and that's been edged, but Jordan Lewis was not able to get it. He might have missed a bit of a trick there. However, the damage is only 2 runs so far. But if Kelly gets going, he's on 11 from 9 now. We know he can score very, very, very quickly. Not sure how I feel about this field either. No one out on the sweep, and Kelly takes full advantage, sending it straight down past square leg and short fine leg for 4. Perhaps need a bit of a rethink of the field here. As bit leg side as well, and just gives Kelly the room to, well, send it straight past square leg and short fine for 4. They're staying with this field, and I'm not sure how much I like it, as Kelly starts to look to go up through the gears. Well fielded there at silly point. And Kelly goes big. There is a man out there, but it does not matter. That's another 6 runs to the score, and Kelly finds himself in the 20s. Again, not amazing bowling here from Anthony Lee, as that's just right in the slot. Kelly goes hard at it, and just short of the advertising hoarding. 21 from 12 now, Kelly, as Lee puts it outside off. Well played down 2 extra cover. And 3 for 61 now after 7 overs. Jackson Allison enters the... Oh yeah, good point. So Aaron O'Hare plays a bit of a cut shot, fielded at gully, as Allison, second ball of his over. O'Hare gets down on one knee, sweep slog, and that has gone all the way. Another 6 runs, and the Renegades move to 3 for 73. $16 balls left in this Renegades innings, as we see O'Hare go for another one and doesn't quite make it to the rope on the full this time, but that's a very, very comfortable 4. No one at fine leg to field that. One bounce over the rope. And a very odd field for a spin bowler here, but it's one the AI seems to like, with the 2 men deep straight down the ground, as we see the cut played and fielded at gully. Allison now 10 runs conceded in his first 4 balls. He'll need to peg this back a bit here. It's edged, but it lands safely, and that will be another 4. Renegades now 3 for 75. One last ball in the over. What can Jackson Allison do here to peg this back? He really needs a wicket at this point, and he's not going to do it bowling that length. I like this field a lot more. Men out on the sweep, catching positions, as we see it played along the ground by Aaron O'Hare to deny Joey Kelly the strike next over. Just the one run. Renegades 3 for 76 after 8. Well, we see the ball tracking now, and probably a bit too short, except for the ones that were a bit too full. Felix Wimilski comes back into the attack. Aaron O'Hare, 23 off 10. He's got the run rate moving nicely. We might see some short stuff here with this field back, but we don't, and that is absolutely belted past point, and that's another 4. Joey Kelly watching his partner at the other end. This, of course, might be Joey Kelly's last game. If he fails to upgrade this weekend, then we will see another Season 1 vet out of the competition. A Yorker, I think that might be out unless it's managed to hit him outside the line. The umpire, I'm going to say that must have been outside the line, as we see the... Ooh. As we see the ball tracking. Yeah, impact outside off while the shot was being played, but that was going to clean up all 3 stumps. So this might be the length to play against O'Hare, who is relatively inexperienced. The Heat need another wicket here. We see the Yorker again, and that does the trick. Felix Wimilski clean bowls him, and an explosive little innings here from Aaron O'Hare comes to an end. Just could not handle the full stuff, and he'll be disappointed there. 27 runs off just 13 balls, 4 for 80, right intent, wrong execution, as Bailey Wilson comes to the crease. Another one of the less experienced players in the lineup, as Wimilski comes in, was all a little bit leg side there, played down the leg side by Bailey Wilson. And the overthrow saved well. Joey Kelly back on strike. Smart move here with the more set batsman, but you surely think that he'll want to be on strike for the start of the next over. Foolish again, played down the ground. No one back there. Wouldn't have mattered anyway. That is another 6 runs, and it's about 6 rows deep into the stands. Played with great fluency there by Joey Kelly. Great shot, great results, great cricket all round. 27 from 14 now from Joey Kelly. He'll want to step that run rate up a little bit. Plays it along the ground. They consider the single, but they decide against it. Bailey Wilson will be facing the first ball of the final over. As we see, Wimilski went consistently full there, but probably the stuff he bowled that was shorter just wasn't there. As Allison went for 15 in his first over. He was expensive. That's short. That's been played well by Wilson. Maybe it doesn't matter that Joey Kelly's off strike, because there's another 4 runs. Just way too short. Massive drag down by Allison, and that is given the treatment. Only saving grace for the Heat there was that he didn't go for 6. Run rate's heading towards 10 now. 100's definitely on the cards at 4 for 91 with 5 balls to go. We see that played. There is some protection at third man. It's batted back though. Will we see 3? No, we'll see 2. Well, I'm not sure how Joey Kelly feels here about being denied the strike, but I guess we'll get to find out soon enough. Wilson moves to 7 from 3. He's had a good knock so far. 2 men on the leg side. We see it played straight, and perhaps this is what we need to... Well, it is what we need to get Joey Kelly on strike, as we see the 7th run of the over. 8 from 4. Great work from Bailey Wilson, but I think they'll try and keep him off strike for the rest of the over. Joey Kelly surely looking to go big here. Gets down on one knee, and that's gone. Well, he's completely misjudged the line there. I'm not sure if it's bowled or stumped at this stage. And I'm still not sure after that replay. But he's back in the sheds in potentially the final innings of his career. 27 runs from 16 balls. Bonzakahu comes out to bat now. And now we are into the bowlers. 5 for 94 is a sub 100 score on the cards here. Dot ball. Well, unless Bonzakahu hits a 60, you would expect it to be sub 100. And with where the Renegades were at the start of the over, they have to consider that a disappointment, as we see the reverse sweep or pull played there by Trey Bonzakahu. And they will get to 5 for 96. Well, some good batting here from the Renegades in patches, but just lost wickets too consistently, too often, and they'll be disappointed there. And Joey Kelly was bowled there, not stumped by Jackson Allison. Sharing top score with Aaron O'Hare at 27 runs apiece. Ryan Gaval making 20 off 15. No other real launches there from the Renegades. And the Brisbane Heat will be coming out to bat. Moana, very experienced batsman. Of 27, high strike rate of 172. Up against the experienced Kai Rangahuna for the first ball of this Heat innings. Moana's one of the strongest batsmen in this Heat lineup, if not the strongest. They'll need a very big score out of him today, as that gets knocked down to deep square leg. Just the one run off it though. Now, Tallis Riff, this is going to be interesting here. He has historically been one of the best batsmen. However, he has failed to put in his recreation submission, so he might be a little bit below his typical standard, as we see that batting average of 23. Very dangerous in this T10 format. Rangahuna comes in again. It's on the stumps. Well, Riff seems that he's decided that he'll go for it, and it's 4 runs. He's picked up where he's left off at the end of season 3. He was a bit out of form in the internationals, but he seems to be pretty keen on getting back to regular programming, as that beats hell yeah to the boundary. 5 runs from the first 2 balls. Rangahuna needs to pull this back. It's full. It's not quite a Yorker. Outside the line of off stump, but well fielded there at cover. There'll need to be a few more dot balls if the Renegades are going to pull this back in, but I still think the Heat might find this chase tricky, as we see a bit of a pull there from Tallis Riff. Lands in space, and they will come back for the second. Didn't look like they were going to for a moment there, but excellently played. Rangahuna, 7 runs now from 4 balls. Needs to look to end this over cheaply. It's a short one. Fended away by Riff. No run. Looking very energetic at the crease. He will be looking for a big square out of him too. Another short one. It's edged. It's over the keeper. That's going to be 4. And there was never stopping that shot. Obviously, he had absolutely zero control where it went. It could have gone anywhere, but where it went was the boundary. As Alex Neil enters the attack. 11 runs off the first over for the Heat. Perhaps this pitch is going to work for them after all. As fended down to mid-off by Damien Moana. Seems he's taking the role of the more measured batsman this innings, letting Riff play the big shots around him. Bit of gardening on the pitch. Certainly the sort of pitch that would need some gardening. A grassy, dry day 3 surface with some light cracks. Slip in. Fishes outside the line. Unpunished but unrewarded. Two dot balls to start here from Neil. This is a great start to this second over of the heat innings. It's short. It's played down the ground. Long on is there, but it's going to beat long on and the mid-off who ran back, and it's going to be another 4 runs. The Heat are just staying in touch with this run rate here. They certainly haven't exploded by any means, but 15 runs off just 9 balls. They're putting some scoreboard pressure back on to the Renegades, who don't have the world's most experienced bowling attack, though they certainly have a strong one on paper now, as we see that run for a single, bringing Riff back to the crease. He'll be looking to step up here. Strike rate of 200 for now, 3 men back. Plays the short one well, however, does go straight to forward square leg. And we'll just see the one off it. One to come in the over. Neil considers his options. Moana does the same. Moana might go big here. It's short. It's hooked. And it's fielded at, I guess you'd call that third man. Umpire signals that's the one over the shoulder, but it's a bit academic at this point as Bonsakahu moves out of the opening bowler position. Inexpensive man goes for 44 runs, a wicket. That's the leg side, it's edged. It doesn't quite carry to short third man though. Well, Bonsakahu needs to put that in that slot again for Moana. See if he can get him fishing. Moana's fished at a couple now. Excellently fielded there at, I guess you call that short mid-wicket. Moana will be looking to build a bit of an innings here, you'd think. Fends it off down to fine leg. Just the one. Though he might prefer to let Tallis Riff do the work. Riff's definitely been the more explosive of the two batsmen so far. Bonsakahu. Outside off, a bit of a Yorker. Gets fielded there at cover. No run. Riff isn't known for his calm temperament at the crease. If he does get a couple of dot balls in a row, he'll look to take things into his own hands, and it might work out for him, but it also might not, as he fends that one off his pads, glanced away to fine leg. And 2 runs off the over so far from Bonsakahu. An excellent start, especially given how expensive the first 2 were, 11 off the first and 7 off the second. Can Moana put Brisbane back in the box seat though? He goes for it. It'll be 1, 2 bounces and over the rope. No one down there at deep long on. Bonsakahu looks a bit angry at himself there, but it was a bit of a nothing ball on a nothing line, on a nothing length, very leg side, and Moana takes advantage. As Hellier enters the attack. First over of spin we'll see for this innings. And Riff plays it nicely off his pads again. However, Hellier does have protection out there. A man at deep backward square. This is a very curious field. Seems to assume that Moana will hit against the spin. And Moana immediately proves that he'd prefer to hit with it. Also glanced off his pads, and that's another 4 runs to the score. Not a great line there from Daniel Hellier. Needed to put it further outside Moana's off stump, as that was just a little bit too easy for that leg glance. Especially with this field, perhaps Hellier should consider going around the wicket as well. Well, that's been edged. No slip to take advantage of it. Short third man runs deep. As just one run off that, though. Yeah. Brisbane rotating the strike very well so far. As I'm not sure what that was there at short third man. Can't quite make out who that was, who just missed it. Found asleep at the switch, and that allows for yet more rotation of the strike. Both batsmen looking to step up a gear now as the confidence kicks in. And we see the big shot from Moana. There's a man out there, but again, it does not matter. It is over the rope, one bouncing into the crowd, another 6 runs to the score. Stands and delivers. What a drive. And frankly, Daniel Hellier is lucky that wasn't a crowd catch, as we see 13 off his over so far. Not so much aggression there, as we see another misfield. Just really missed there at cover or extra cover. And that turns the dot ball into 2 runs. Daniel Hellier will not be happy there, but some of it he only has himself to blame for. I'll be interested to see the lengths here. His length is about there, you'd have to consider, but I think his line might just be a little off. Bonzakahu now in for his second over. 6 runs off the first. The heat none for 39 after 4 overs and 1 ball now. Tallis Riff and Damien Moana both set. And I've got to say, the Renegades bowlers haven't looked like taking a wicket. I thought that batting second on this pitch, as we see another big one. There's a man out there. Will he take it? No, he won't. He catches it, but he's gone over the rope, and that is 6 more runs. Tallis Riff rides his luck there. But Bonzakahu will in many ways like what he saw. We see the short one played through the offside now between extra cover and mid-off, and there's 4 more to the total. Heat really taking control of this game now. The Renegades bowlers have just really looked hapless in this one. Like I said before, I really thought this pitch might work against the Heat with some apparent fragility in their batting lineup. But Moana and Riff like it just fine, and Riff goes again. That will be well wide of the man at deep point. And that's yet another 4 runs added to the total. 14 so far off Trey Bonzakahu's second over. He needs to do something to pull this back. He needs to do it now. He needs 2 dot balls at an absolute minimum. And frankly, he needs a wicket. As Riff shifts, plays it off his pads to backward square. Just a single. That's cheap compared to what had happened earlier in the over, but Moana's hungry for the runs as well. As Bonzakahu shifts round to round the wicket for his last ball of the spell. It's a Yorker, and it's well fielded there at cover. Some overthrows, but no runs off it. Heat now, enough 54 after 5, seems to be the round of batting second, as we see a run rate of 10.8, and unless the Renegades do something very soon to get some wickets, this might be over very quickly, and Brisbane might end the round with a healthy net run rate. As Corey Bell, left arm wrist spinner, brings his Chinamen into the attack. Not sure how this is going to go against Riff. Well, that ball could have ended up anywhere off the inside edge, but it'll just be 1 run. Interesting choice bringing Moana to strike, of course, as you generally expect Moana to prefer facing right arm wrist spinners. Corey Bell turning the ball away. It's very full, and it's fielded at point. Just the one off the first 2 balls. Interesting field. It's a man on one sweep, but there's not one on the other. And that will go straight over deep cover for 6 runs. Moana's decided that he's done playing in this game and he just wants to end it as soon as possible. Bring up that net run rate for the Brisbane Heat, which might prove very, very useful to them, as the Scorchers had 2 big wins to start the season. Bell, 4th ball, Obby's over. There's a man out there. It falls short of him though at deep backward square. Just the 1 run. As Tallis Riff faces up for the 5th ball of the over. A man on the sweep again, and a man on the leg side drive. It's flicked off the pads. It's well wide of the man at deep square leg, and there's another 4. This is getting very ugly very quickly. Just how quickly can Tallis Riff and Damien Moana chase this target down? $12 so far with the ball to come. Heat, none for 66 off 5 overs, 5 balls. Bell puts it full again. Riff flicks it off his pads again. It beats deep square leg for 4 again. 16 runs off the Corey Bell over. Not what the Renegades were looking for. And we'll see the score move to none for 70. Just 26 more runs needed. And that will be 4 overs to go as Rangahuna re-enters the attack. Rangahuna a bit expensive in his first over as well. Oh, that's leg side again. There is a man out there, and it's taken. Moana's gone, 32 for 19. Well, the Renegades desperately needed that wicket. Caught at long on. Damien Moana back in the sheds. And that's a great catch there from the captain, Daniel Hellyer. Moana still looking to accelerate that run rate. And it seems he's lived by the sword and died by the sword. Very, very healthy strike rate though. Brisbane Heat, 1 for 70. Mataus, no slouch in the batting department himself, comes to the crease at number 3. However, I think he might be back to base stats as well. Man on each sweep, very leg side bouncer. Mataus probably could have let that go, but he decides he wants to feel bat on ball early. One for 71, 6 overs, 2 balls, 26 from 22 the equation. Very leg side again. Riff flicks it off his pads. It beats third man, fine leg the first time around. But he comes back and has another crack and limits the damage to 2 runs. Rangahuna, you'd have to call the pick of the bowlers so far just by virtue of having taken a wicket. But it's still 14 runs to go with that from just 9 balls. He goes for the Yorker. There's a shout, but that was definitely bat first. Alice Rearfield looks to go big against the rookie bowler. 2 men back. It's edged. It's well fielded by short third man though. Bit of a nothing return to the stumps. McCartney seemingly uninterested in it. Rangahuna though, 2 dot balls in a row now. Goes for the Yorker and Riff goes big. Riff goes very big. Riff goes all the way. That's another 6 runs. Heat, 1 for 79 off 7 overs. No dramas with the run rate, and you'd have to assume no dramas with the wickets in hand unless Corey Bell can do something magical. And he does! Sione Mataus will be back in the sheds. Bowled Corey Bell, dumped Jai McCartney, adding just 1 run to the total. Well, this will be interesting now with Jordan Lewis coming to the crease. But Mataus completely plays down the wrong line there, trying to put the ball into orbit. And Jai McCartney says, thank you very much. 2 for 79 now. And that is another wicket that the Renegades desperately needed. Where was this 5 overs ago? Bell, outside off, turning it back into the right-hander, of course. Jordan Lewis fends it down the ground to deep mid-off. And bringing Tallis Rift to the crease here, or to the strike here, seems a smart play. Man on the sweep, long on back. Fended away by Riff, who has to be thinking 50 here. It's 46 from 23. He scored him a strike rate of 200. Does he go big? Does he risk it for the biscuit? No, he doesn't. It's edged, and I think we're only going to see 2. No, we're only going to see 1. Bringing Lewis back to the strike. No major risks with running play being taken here. That said, when you're 2 for 81, chasing 97, you can afford to be, as that's a beautiful little paddle sweep there from Jordan Lewis. Protection on the sweep of backward square, but Jordan Lewis hits it very, very square, and that just rockets along the carpet for 4. Very clever play from the captain. Oh yeah, adjusts his field. I don't mind this. There's a man on each sweep and a man if he decides to go down the ground. Wide Yorker. Belted down to cover, but no advantage taken of the misfield. Corey Bell, 1 for 22, 1 ball to come. His first over was certainly one to forget, but he's pegged it back nicely here in the second. Oh, sorry. That was the end of that over. As Daniel Hellier, also expensive in his first over, number 15 in the penultimate over of the game, goes outside off, and that is straight up in the air. It'll be 6 or it'll be out, and it's out. Tallis Riff falls 47 from 25, denied his half century. Daniel Hellier very happy, and they're pegging this net run rate back a bit, but you've got to question whether the Renegades have the bowling to close out this game. It went about 500 metres high in the air and gets beautifully caught there by Bailey Wilson at mid-off. Jordan Lewis looking very disappointed, but not as disappointed as Tallis Riff is. 47 runs at a strike rate of 188. No slouch as Will Kay comes to the crease. That batting average, I feel, while Brad Benesque is probably inflated by a not out or 2, but that run rate, well, I think I've just put the mocker on him. Daniel Hellier has bowled a beautiful ball, and that has got Will Kay for a golden duck. They consider the review, but I'm not sure what that was considering, because that's definitely edged, and it was probably stumped as well. 4 for 85 now. Daniel Hellier on a hat-trick. Butters comes out to bat. Joshua Butterfield, not the world's healthiest average, but he doesn't need it. He just needs to score the runs quickly as the Renegades start to peg this back. Hat-trick ball from Hellier. It's edged. It falls safe. Well, an over ago, you would have said this was impossible. But the Heat looking shaky now. 4 for 85 off 8.5 overs. Paddled back to a squarish fine leg, or a backward square. 2 men down the ground again. No protection on either sweep. Surely. And Butters has gone too. 5 for 85. Daniel Hellier bowls the second over of his spell of his absolute life as that gets chopped on. And now, in the final over, the Heat find themselves with far, far more to do than they would ever have imagined as Jackson Allison, specialist bowler, comes to the crease. This is not what the Heat wanted. Jackson Allison goes big, though. It's going to land safely, and it's going to be 4. Happening. Nine for 89 with just the 1 over to come. Absolutely massive over from Daniel Hellier, though. Tightened his line and length up and got rewarded with 3 wickets. Alex Neil, 7 off his first. He'll have to do better than that in his second if he wants to win this game for his team. Jordan Lewis on strike, ball short. Not a great ball. Wide, completely unnecessary there from Alex Neil. Perhaps some nerves from the rookie. Another short one, and it's a dot. Excellently bowled there by Alex Neil. Bit poor there from Jordan Lewis. 7 runs needed, 5 balls remaining. It beats the infield. That's going to be a boundary. 2 to tie it, 3 to win it. Of course, if it is a tie, we will be going to a super over. But I imagine the Heat will be hoping it doesn't come to that. I mean, I'm really not sure about this field, though. Neil probably needs some more protection. As Lewis... Neil tries the Yorker, and Lewis will end it there. Valiant fight back from Daniel Hellier, but in the end, it was just too little, just too late, as the Brisbane Heat win this by 5 wickets with 3 balls to spare. Jordan Lewis looking very, very happy. And Kellyanne O'Hare, the pick of the batsman. Jordan Lewis finished the job, but it was on a platform laid by Riff and Moana. Excellent work there, but they really squandered their opportunity to put on a big score. And hell yeah, an amazing fight back. 3 for 19 off his 2 overs, but it was too little, too late in the end, as the groundwork had already been laid. Bonsakahu, Corey Bell, both expensive, just not good enough all round. Taylor Swift man of the match, and I think I'd have to agree. That's all we've got time for this evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, and goodbye from the Gabba.